The opinions and views expressed by guests on the Golden Nuggets Health and Wellness shows do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the host or those of the station. Additionally, any medical advice shared by guests is not intended to replace the advice provided by your healthcare providers. It is important to exercise discretion and take responsibility for your own health choices. While the Golden Nuggets Health and Wellness shows aim to provide valuable information on holistic health for the mind, body, and soul, individual circumstances vary, and what works for one person may not be suitable for another. Viewers and listeners are strongly encouraged to consult with qualified healthcare professionals, nutritionists, or other relevant experts before making any significant changes to their lifestyle, diet, exercise routine, or adopting new practices discussed on the show. These professionals can offer personalized advice based on your specific needs and health status. The host, guests, and producers of the Golden Nuggets Health and Wellness shows disclaim any responsibility for consequences arising from the use or misuse of the information provided. By engaging with our content, you acknowledge that it is not a substitute for professional advice, and that you will seek guidance from qualified professionals as needed. Thank you for being a part of our health and wellness community.
Welcome to Golden Nuggets Health and Wellness Show, the television program that's redefining self-care for the mind, body, and soul. I'm Dr. Elect Starr. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, health and wellness consultant, and your host for this show. Our mission is simple: to empower you with creative and innovative self-care strategies and resources that help you prosper and be in good health even as your soul prospers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our new episode where we delve into a topic close to our hearts: self-care for the Black community, mind, body, and soul. But what exactly is self-care? Well, it's not just a buzzword. It's a deliberate practice aimed at enhancing our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Today, we'll explore the many benefits of integrating self-care into our daily routines, with a particular focus on nutritional health and well-being. However, self-care isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. What works for one person may not work for another. That's why it's crucial to explore various activities and strategies to find what best suits our individual needs and lifestyles. Before we begin our discussion on physical health and well-being for the Black community, let's take a moment to acknowledge one of the many strengths within the Black community: education and achievement. Despite facing systemic barriers to education and opportunity, many Black individuals have achieved remarkable academic success and professional accomplishments. Education is valued within the Black community as a pathway to empowerment, social mobility, and collective advancement. Today, we honor that education and achievement and stand alongside you, offering strategies, tools, and resources to enhance your physical health and well-being, and to encourage you to take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live in. Before we begin our discussion, allow me to introduce our distinguished guest. We have with us today Courtney Kopp at Fit But Fat Coaching. How do you like that name? Welcome, Courtney.
Hello. Hi.
We're so glad to have you.
I'm glad to be here.
Well, tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Hi, okay, so my name's Courtney, and I've been in the fitness space for about 7 years. Before that, I did marching band. I wasn't really considered like an athlete. So kind of pursuing my own journey of mental health. I was diagnosed with postpartum depression, and so I needed to find an outlet, and I started going to the gym. 3 days a week. It was actually a bet with my husband.
Oh, really?
For him to quit smoking, I had to go to the gym 3 days a week. So I did that for 3 months, and he quit smoking.
But,
cool. So I found this passion, and it healed a lot of my inner demons that I had with myself. And so I wanted to do something more with my life, and I wanted to start teaching other women how to heal their own, you know, through exercise and nutrition. So I created Fit But Fat Coaching, and I am a personal trainer, a nutrition coach, and I'm also going to school to become a registered dietitian in the future.
Wow, that's awesome.
So very well-rounded.
I would say so.
Most of my clients deal with emotional eating and are looking for weight loss, but with a way that is sustainable for their life. So.
Wow, well, young lady, you are doing an awesome job.
Thank you.
Thank you for all that you do to help us maintain our health and well-being. And what a powerful testimony.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, tell us, how did you come up with Fit But Fat? What a clever name. It's kind of funny.
Yes. So as a mid-size athlete, I'm not small, but I'm not, super overweight either. I always felt like in the fitness space that I was big, I was fat. So I wanted to kind of take back the word fat, and I wanted to express that fat people can be fit too. We can be very healthy and live in larger bodies. So Fit But Fat Coaching.
That is so creative. When I saw that name, I thought, wow, what creative mind came up with that? The name is catchy all by itself.
Yeah.
Well, I want to begin by just asking you to discuss some of the common nutritional challenges and barriers that Black Americans face, and how can they be overcome?
Okay, so most of the common barriers or challenges that I see would be financial constraints. It may limit you to more food pantries or donation centers, or maybe even limit the access in what you have accessible to you in a grocery store. Sometimes those fresh produce options that we deem as the most healthy option is well outside your budget. And along with that, on the other end, we grow up seeing our cultural foods as the most unhealthy version, especially now with social media. You see all these health enthusiasts saying, oh, seed oils, this oil, that, are all unhealthy, but my $13 peanut butter is the way to go. That's how you're gonna be healthy, is if you eat this. And so I think that, the financial constraint, feeling like you don't have the access to what social media deems as healthy, kind of puts you in this rabbit hole of I can never be healthy because I don't have access to that. Like, I can't afford that. So I think those are the biggest challenges across the board for health.
And you're so right, because I've heard people say or ask the question, why is it so expensive to eat healthy?
Yes.
They say they encourage you to eat live food, right? Fresh vegetables. But why are they so expensive? If they want us to eat healthy, why do you make it so expensive? You heard that question?
Yes.
How do you respond to that?
So I respond with, you don't have to eat fresh vegetables to be healthy. To be completely honest, I know that is a very catch-22. Some people are gonna hate me for saying that, and some people are gonna just absolutely love me. But a lot of my diet, fresh fruits and vegetables go bad in 3 days in your refrigerator, and if you're not somebody that eats that day in and day out, you're throwing more money down the drain. So why not buy frozen? Why not buy canned and rinse them so you can get some of the sodium? It's going to depend on how often do you eat those foods? If you don't eat them every day, don't buy fresh.
That makes so much sense.
So much cheaper in canned or frozen. Majority of the fruits and vegetables that I buy are frozen.
Oh, really?
Yes, because they live longer. I have 2 kids, so I throw out a lot of stuff. They live longer in my freezer than they do in the bottom drawer where I don't see them.
I was just thinking as you were talking, I bought bananas for my smoothie, and I think I only got 1 banana that I actually used, and I had to throw them away. And I just,
you know what you should do?
Oh, tell me, please.
You should take those bananas as they're starting to brown, throw them in your freezer. They become frozen bananas, and you can put them in your smoothie frozen. And then you don't have to put ice in there, and You're all, it's like,
I
boom.
never heard that before.
Yes. Anytime some of my produce, like if I do buy fresh, it starts to go bad, I'll either throw it in my freezer, make broth out of it. And I know not everybody's like a huge cook. That took me time, like over time. I used to eat fast food every single day for almost every single meal. So it has taken time for me to want to make bread and broth and all that stuff. But if you throw it in your freezer, you can just throw it in your skillet and cook it up.
That's so smart.
You know?
Now, I used to know, bless her heart, she's passed away, but there was an older friend of mine, and she believed in canning and cooking fresh vegetables. She said she didn't cook them thoroughly, but just enough to freeze them. Mm-hmm. And so if you're making smoothies with fresh spinach, you know, sometimes that goes fast too. Is there any way you can preserve that so that you don't have to throw it out?
Also frozen.
How do you do that?
I just put it in a bag. You don't have to cook it.
Oh,
no,
okay.
because it will change the texture when you go to throw it in your smoothie. So I would just throw it in a bag. You could put like a paper towel in there to kind of soak up any moisture. But if it doesn't bother you, just throw it in a bag, throw it in your freezer, and it'll be ready to go. I mean, sometimes I'll do that
helpful.
When I buy it. I just throw it in the freezer, and then you can take it out. You don't have to worry about it getting all mushy and nasty in the bottom of your fridge.
That is so helpful. Thank you. Because,
Yes.
you know, I'm single, and so a lot of food goes to waste, and I don't like wasting food.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. That was kind of off the side, but
Yeah.
helpful for me. And maybe
I'm glad to help. Yeah.
Maybe it could have helped the audience as well.
Well,
you
if
know?
you think about it, fresh produce is flown in to, especially Indiana. We're not in a readily, like, where there's a lot of seasons where we can grow things like oranges or anything like that.
That's true.
They're not suitable for our environment. So they're flown in, they spend a lot of time on a plane or on a boat or whatever. So they're aging all the way until they get to you.
So
and then they
true.
age in the grocery store. And so with every passing day, they lose a little bit of nutrients, little bit of nutrients. But frozen, they pick them at peak ripeness and then they flash freeze them. So they're going to have the most nutrients. Now, depending on how you cook them and stuff like that, of course you will have nutrients that are lost, but that's the same thing with fresh.
Makes sense to me. All right. Very good. Thank you. Well, when wanting to make changes to improve your health, what should be your main focus?
Your main focus should be sustainability. I mean, every person is different, like you said. Every single person's journey is going to be different. Somebody that struggles with eating, emotional eating or fast food, drinking water, like everybody has different problems that they are trying to solve. So I would look at what you are currently doing. So let's say you're eating out 2 to 3 times a day. Then I would try to find a way that you could cut a little bit of that back. Nothing crazy. No crazy changes.
That's going to be hard for me.
Yes, but if I'm eating out 3 times a day, then maybe I just eat out twice a day and I focus on trying to eat 1 meal at home. And maybe I make that as simple as possible. Maybe I go to the grocery store, and to me that's still eating out, but I grab something to go from the grocery store. It might limit my options. It also will depend on your accessibility, but you can make small little changes without making this huge deal, this huge overload.
So
of
gradually.
Your life. Yes.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Speaking of eating out, some people say that you shouldn't eat out a lot because they said they put a lot of sodium in the food. Do you agree with that?
You should limit the amount in which you're eating takeout. Now, it's going to depend on whether it's fast food or dine out, but all restaurants across the board are going to use more fats and more oils, more sodium to make it hyper palatable. They want you to crave it. They want you to come back for more. So they're going to make it taste as good as possible.
Wow. That's so true.
Yes. So, it's created for you to continue to come back for more. I mean, food addictions are real. So
Makes a lot of sense.
you want to try to limit the amount in which you're having takeout. I think it is becoming more expensive. So now we just kind of have to go with can I cut back on takeout so I can have more money for groceries? Or have more money to do other things in my life, because takeout is not cheaper than groceries anymore.
I would
Depending
agree.
on where you shop, how you shop. I was actually just talking about this with my mom today, and I was saying that ask your grocery store when they do clearance, when they do markdowns. Try to go on those days. Wednesdays for Walmart, markdowns.
Excellent. Well, our time is up. We're going to take a break.
Yes.
And we're going to come back and talk more. How's that?
Yes.
All right. We'll be right back.
Dr. Starr, best-selling author of Golden Nuggets, Food for the Mind, Body, and Soul, is also a health and wellness speaker and consultant who provides motivational speaking, training conferences, and one-on-one coaching to improve the quality of life. She's passionate about helping people heal from the inside out. Dr. Starr provides creative and innovative self-care strategies that empower you to prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. Call or visit the Golden Nuggets website today. Feeling anxious? Perhaps you're dealing with a past trauma and don't know where to turn for help. Turn to Unlimited Possibilities. We provide a safe and caring space for individuals and families to help improve the quality of their lives. Whether you need help with spiritual matters, trauma, depression, and more, Unlimited Possibilities can help you overcome your situation with compassion, acceptance, respect, and empowerment. Unlimited Possibilities, where all things are possible if you believe. Call or visit our website today.
And welcome back to Golden Nuggets Health and Wellness Show. I'm Dr. Starr, and I am here with Ms. Courtney Kopp. And we've been talking, for those of you just tuning in, on self-care and in particular nutritional health and well-being. And so I'm just going to share some self-care strategies for our physical health and well-being. And so one of them is just simply getting enough sleep. Now, some say between 6 and 8 hours. Some say between 6 and 9 hours. But it is important that you get the rest that your body needs, because sleep is essential for the body and mind to function properly. And so aim at let's just say between 7 and 9. Now, some people don't require that. For example, I generally wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning. My body just wakes up and I am alert. So I've just learned to respect my body and do what my body says I need to do. But then I'm not going to stay up till midnight and 1 o'clock. I'm not going to do that to myself. So I make sure that I get in the bed and get plenty of rest. So I want to encourage you to take care of yourselves. And sometimes it's important to even develop a bedtime routine. So for some people, they have problems relaxing, winding their mind down. They say when they go to bed, their minds are racing. So you might want to consider an hour before bedtime, just developing a bedtime routine. It might look like turning the lights down, dimming your lights. It might be turning on relaxing music, perhaps a nice warm bath or warm shower, whichever works for you. Turning off your cell phones and television. And it might even mean for you reading a book, but it's doing those things that help you to relax so that you can rest well. Those are just some tips on getting enough sleep and even preparing for your night's rest. So we're going to come back to Ms. Courtney, and I'm going to ask you, can you define self-care in the context of nutritional well-being for us?
Yes. So like we've been kind of talking about, everybody's going to be a little bit different. That's going to look a little different for everybody. But I kind of look at it as in you're taking votes for yourself. You want to vote yes for yourself. So making decisions on what you're going to eat, if you're hydrated enough based on how your body feels, I think is self-care. So if I don't want to drink water, but I know that I'm going to get a headache later in the day, and I go ahead and drink the water instead of the soda, I'm voting yes for myself. I'm voting yes for my future self, and I want to do that as often as possible so I feel the best that I can feel all day long, every day, for the rest of my life.
I like that when you say you're voting yes.
Yes.
How many glasses of water is the recommendation? Because some people say 8 ounces. Mm-hmm. What is it?
So I use a very general statement with my clients because some people don't want to drink that much water. And if your urine is clear or a light yellow, preferably clear, then you are drinking enough water. If your urine is a dark color, then you are so dehydrated. I want to have you drink a glass of water right now. But I would start out with, if you are only drinking maybe 16 ounces, which is what a lot of people drink. They'll tell me,
16?
yeah, that they're only drinking one water bottle, one of the white or plastic water bottles. I would try to opt for 2 or 3 of those a day.
2 or 3, okay.
To start with. Ideally, you want to drink more than that, probably closer to 7 or 8. That's anywhere from 100.
7 or 8. Wow.
100 to 128 ounces, which is a gallon. You'll hear that a lot. Drink a gallon of water. Not everybody needs a gallon of water. I find that I am completely hydrated at 100 ounces of water. Some days I'll require more. Usually I don't require less.
And how does one know, other than the color of urine, that they're dehydrating? Are there other signs? I guess that's what I'm asking.
If you consistently have a dry mouth, if you get a lot of headaches,
oh, really?
Then
Headaches.
You're usually dehydrated in some form. If you get sick pretty often, that's also another sign that your body's just not processing the toxins throughout their body. I mean, that's what water is for. Your body is made up majority of water. It's how your liver functions. If you drink a lot of alcohol, which I would argue to not do that, but you need to have more water.
Wow. I've always said to my clients that drinking water is like taking a shower.
Yes.
Gives your insides that refreshing, cleansing, refreshing. Okay, very good. So what are some tips and resources for Black Americans who want to improve? You said hydration, you've addressed that. Reduce their intake of processed foods and limit their alcohol. It's funny, you've already said that.
Yes, yes. Alcohol should be very limited. It is not good for you. I mean, we could go on and on and on about why alcohol is not okay for your body. I mean, it is a type 1 carcinogen, which can cause cancer and all kinds of other diseases. It's also a big proponent for the adipose tissue. So a lot of us are like, I don't like my midsection. I want to lose this. That's the fat that's on the inside of your abdominal wall, which can lead to a lot of other diseases like heart disease and stuff like that. Whereas just overeating, that's the fat that's on the outside of the abdominal wall. Obviously, you don't know which one you have unless you know that you're drinking a whole lot or you're not. But alcohol is just like, it is, I can't express how terrible it is. For women, I would suggest having 1 or less per day and not saving them all for the weekend. Binge drinking is not okay either. Like 1 or less a day. And for men, it's 2. That's moderation.
Wow. Thank you.
Yes.
For that information.
And then as for processed foods, I mean, I would look at what you're currently eating. So let's first take a look at what a processed food is. If we take an apple and we cut it, that's automatically a processed food. So we throw around this word processed foods.
Say that again.
If you take an apple,
that one before, Courtney.
if you take an apple and you cut it, or you cook an onion, it's become processed, even though it was derived from a whole food. So we kind of have to separate what processed and ultra processed is. Ultra processed is like your frozen pizzas, your frozen meals, things like that, fast food, all of those things. I would look at how much you're eating currently. What is going to be the lowest barrier for you to make some of those things at home? Maybe it's once a week, not a full meal prep. I don't do meal prep. I don't have my clients do meal prep. But maybe when you're cooking dinner for your family, you just make a little extra. Maybe you double the batch, triple the batch, and you put some in the freezer, and it has become a frozen meal for you now. Or you put it in containers, and you have it for those meals that you really don't want to cook anything, and you would automatically go grab some food or grab a frozen meal type thing. That's how you can start to limit your processed food. Over time, you will naturally start to take away more of that without so much effort, because it's just something that you're naturally working up the energy to do, instead of saying, I'm gonna go on a diet today and I'm gonna not buy any fast food, I'm not gonna buy any processed food, I'm gonna cook everything from scratch. That sounds like a tall order.
It sounds like what you're describing is what we talk about so often in the mental health field. You develop a lifestyle of self-care. And I hear that as you're talking.
Yes.
And I hear you also making it simple.
Yes.
That it can be done, it's doable. And it doesn't have to be overwhelming. No. It doesn't have to be distressful or depressing. You're putting fun back into it. That is so cool. Ms. Courtney, can you tell me what resources or practices do you recommend for promoting nutritional well-being in the Black community?
So I would say check out your local community center. If you have a community center near you, ask them. Do they have any nutrition workshops? Do they recommend any nutrition coaches or any like healthcare providers that can provide some of that information or that hands-on work? I know that I do some work in my community center. I do live on the south side, but I also do a lot on social media. So you can find me on Facebook at Courtney Kopp, or you can find me on Instagram at Fit But Fat Coaching, where I regularly do like free nutrition audits or like pantry makeovers where I can sit there and walk you through like, hey, this is what you currently do. These are a few things that I would change or that you can start implementing. The way I coach is very much like I ask you a lot of questions, which leads you to the answer. And I'm like, yes, I would totally do that.
Oh, and so in other words, you act like a therapist. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
That's so many words, maybe. But you have more buy-in when you do that. When you are answering your own question, you're like, yes, that was such a good idea versus, you know, if I was telling my child to go clean their room, they don't want to do that. But if they came to me and told me that, they totally would because it was their idea. So yeah, you can totally connect with me on social media and ask me any questions.
And say more about these groups. You said they're on Facebook?
Yes, so I run group coaching programs. I have a co-coach and it's a very immersive experience. We have teaching modules, but we want those teaching modules to be applied to you. So if we're looking at how to meal prep for your life specifically, the way I meal prep is not how you're gonna meal prep. Reading nutrition labels, you're gonna have more questions than Sally over here does. So we want you to interact with us and like get that hands-on experience to take the knowledge and directly apply it to your life and not have you have to figure out how can I apply that knowledge, because there's knowledge everywhere. YouTube University, you know, Google, whatever, there's an abundance of knowledge, but we miss the implementation. We miss how can I take that and apply it directly to my life, and that's what I do with my 6-week group coaching programs.
Sounds wonderful.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. And as we wrap it up, are there any final thoughts that you would like to share with our audience? We've heard a lot from you today, and it's been wonderful information, valuable information. Anything, and as we close, that you would like to share that's on your heart today?
Sure. It all comes down to sustainability. So if you are wanting to make a change in your life, the ultimate question for yourself is, can I see myself doing this forever? And if it is a no, then it is a no. Do not do it. If it is a yes, then by all means, whatever that looks like for you, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is great. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I've gotten some stuff to take with me today. So as we wrap up today's episode, I just want to extend a big thank you to our wonderful guest, Courtney Kopp. We're so glad to have you and appreciate your invaluable insights today. And to our audience for joining us in this important discussion. Be sure to stay tuned as we continue exploring self-care for the Black community. Thank you for watching. And until next time, may you prosper and be in good health even as your soul prospers. Goodbye for now.